Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to mulliganspharmacy.com. Life's a beach with Mulligan's Pharmacies. Open late on the Dunmore Road and in Tramore.
Good morning and welcome to tropical Kilmeaden. It's tropical Padraig this morning, isn't it?
Wonderful.
Oh, it is wonderful. There we are, James. It's absolutely fabulous here this morning. We are here at the Waterford and Suir Valley Railway. We're celebrating all that's good about community enterprise, about volunteerism, about sustainability, and about the love of choo-choos. Peter, the love of choo-choos. You love the old choo-choo.
I'm third generation railway. You'd think I'd had enough of it with Irish Rail, but no, for my sins I got drawn into the project back 1997.
And we'll talk to you in a minute about that, because what we are doing here, we've got a special live outside broadcast. Please come down if you want to come down. If you don't make it down today with a bit of the inclement weather, but don't worry about the weather, because once you get on the train, you stay dry, isn't that it? That's it, exactly. So, if you're not here today, come down tomorrow, come down the next day, because it is a fabulous facility. Just talking to Maria Kyte in a minute here now, and we're remembering and reminiscing on a nationwide piece that I did here 2001 or 2002. It's phenomenal, the work that has been done here. We're celebrating the opening of a new cafe. Everybody was here working late till 8:30, 9:30, 10 o'clock last night when Padraig was out checking out, doing his research on this. And all the volunteers here, and Noel is here, and all the lads we've seen down through the years. So we're going to go through everything now in a few minutes. We're going to talk about the important tourist aspect of this. We're going to talk about the link to the Greenway and different aspects of that. A lot of things in the papers this morning. If people want to text us in, 083 3333 975. With the ongoing beef crisis, farmers' protest shutting down factories. We've got college rents, which we have covered as well on our programme over the last few days. We also have the climate change issues that have been coming up. People want to text us in about that. Also, healthcare and waiting lists. People text us in about that. Any experience that you've had with the railway down here, any experience, any marvellous times you've had here, please let us know, because there's so many great stories about the railway. Padraig, we'll start off with the lovely quote, the Oscar Wilde quote. Give us that beautiful quote. We've got Padraig O'Greefa here. Tell us, Padraig.
A dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight, and his punishment is that he sees the dawn before the rest of the world. I think that kind of encapsulates the whole idea of Suir Valley Railway from 20 years ago to now, because we were obviously seen as dreamers at the time. And look what's happened today. It's all happened.
So I'm joined now by three stalwarts. We've got Maria Kyte here, who is Business Development Manager at Waterford and Suir Valley Railway. Two former chairpersons, Padraig O'Greefa and Peter Roche. Maria, I'm going to start with yourself first. Just remind people, what is the Waterford and Suir Valley Railway? People that don't know it.
The Waterford and Suir Valley Railway is it's a social enterprise set up in 2000 to develop a narrow gauge railway as a tourist attraction on a section of one of the abandoned Waterford railway lines. How long is it? How many carriages do you have? We have 10 kilometres of track. We operate on a daily basis on 6.5 kilometres. We have 3 engines, 3 locomotives, and we have 2 carriages.
Peter, you are formerly of Irish Rail, CIE as it was then. What is a narrow gauge railway? Just remind people what's a narrow gauge railway compared to what people would know as an ordinary railway.
Well, a standard Irish Rail railway is 5 foot 3 inches. And this is a narrow gauge railway is 1 metre.
1 metre?
Yes, yeah.
Why is there narrow gauge railways compared to ordinary railways?
Well, when we were looking at procuring rolling stock, we found that there was a lot more availability of narrow gauge railway in the UK, particularly in the Isle of Man, where they have a full narrow gauge railway set up. So we sort of said we'd replicate what we saw as working very successful in the Isle of Man.
Like, this is not something that happened overnight. We're talking about 1997 when this started, when the plan for this started, even before that. But bring us back to 1997 and the dream that she had for this.
It was an initiative, Damien, of the Chamber of Commerce, initially to open the Waterford Tramore line. And then there was a lot of difficulties, and I was approached then by Michael Wilcock, who was the then chairman of this subgroup, and they were looking at alternate routes. And I recommended this route because of the scenery and also because I knew that CIE had no long-term interest in the track bed here, and hence they give Waterford and Suir Valley a licence to operate on this track.
And you were chairperson on and off for 10 years?
For 10 years, yes, yeah.
And your experience, obviously, from the railways, you brought to bear on this, and also calling in a few favours and getting people to do things. There were tough times as well, like you're talking at one stage $250,000 of debt, which is a lot of money for a small enterprise.
Yes, luckily enough we got funding from a Clan Credo who fund social schemes, and that helped us to get it off. But it was very tight, a very, very tight operation. And even before we started to lay the track, there was times that we sort of wonder whether this project would ever see the light of day.
Padraig, where did you come into this and why did you come into it?
Memory is not my best now, Damien, but Peter, I was on the board of the...
You can remember last night though, can't you?
Parts of it, yeah. I was on the board of the chamber at the time, and Peter asked me to come on to the board, and he set a bear trap and caught me beautifully. And I was involved about 10
He's
years
a very,
total, I think.
very persuasive man, and he has an ability to bring people together.
Sleight of hand, you don't see what he's doing to you. But I must say, I enjoyed 90% of it. As you said, we had some tough times, we had battles, we had money issues, the whole lot. And I think some of the time people thought we were mad, basically, because it was a big pipe dream at the time to a lot of people. But we got there, and I mean, every aim we had, we ticked that box and we did it. And we have a few left that they're not finished yet, and we're both retired now, but we still have a big interest here.
Maria, we were just reminiscing when I was here first and we were doing the piece, and the platforms weren't even built properly, and there was only one platform, and it was just in its infancy. It seems like a lot of hard work. Has it been hard work, or how would you define it? Have you enjoyed it over the last years?
Like Padraig, I think I probably loved 90% of it. There have been times that have been, oh my God, what have we started here? But when we see what we have here today, I mean, for a social enterprise from 2001, when I first met you, we have grown so much. We get about 30,000 visitors a year.
30,000?
30,000. We now have 4 full-time staff employed here. 3 part-time staff, and there are still 6 people on...
Okay, I think we are back there now. Hopefully the weather is causing some serious problems here at present with our signal. A lot of people down here at present, and people building up. We've got some musicians here ready to go. Noel is having a cup of coffee down there to relax. There's some volunteers here, Maria. Tell us, we're going to have them in a few minutes. Tell us about the volunteers and the lads that have worked here over the years.
There are a crew about 30 volunteers here at the moment, but I mean, we've been operating the railway now since 2003, so there's been an awful lot of people involved. Some people have come and gone after a year, some people have stayed on and are still with us for the whole journey we've taken, I'd say. But they just love coming here. I think you're going to be talking to some of our volunteers later, so I think I'll let them talk for themselves.
There's something beautiful still, even though it's not a steam railway, Peter. There's still something beautiful about trains.
Young boy wants to either be a pilot of an aircraft or a train driver, so there's huge interest in it. It's a concept I saw in Canada, where volunteers were operating a similar type of attraction as this. And without the input of the volunteers, whether it be train crews or whether it be at board level, this project would never have seen the light of day, only for their commitment and just the love of the project.
Padraig, as I said earlier, that combination of different factors, and I've been involved in different things myself, where you try to combine community organisations, you try to get funding from different sources, you work together with chambers, work together with the council. To bring all those things together, there has to be, I suppose, this dream that you mentioned earlier, but also the practicality of a business plan that something is going to work.
Yeah, certainly. And the business plan stood up, but Peter was very good, actually, to give Peter credit. He picked wonderful board members at the time, that skill set.
That's so important.
He got current chairman, John Norris, who was with Malone O'Regan, he still is. So there was your engineering, me for BS maybe, I don't know what he picked me for, but he did pick a very good crew, which most of them are still here, and which helped put the whole thing together and make it a reality. But yeah, it was an uphill battle, but we got goodwill everywhere we went from. But Cloncreta were they came in with the cash in the end.
And it's so important that you have a good business development manager. And I know she's sitting here beside us, but she has developed the business plans over the years. And to have somebody on site that's able to combine that theory and what's on the business plan with the practicality of making it happen every day.
It's essential. It's absolutely essential. I mean, Maria was the key person in that, essential. But there was times for me, I know about Peter, but you saw an email or text from Maria and you went, oh no, what's gone wrong today? But we got over all that.
Maria, you develop business plans, and it's a very good example. And anybody who's looking at social enterprise initiatives, because I was at a big conference there 3 months ago where it's could be the next big thing for the next 5 years in terms of that social enterprise basing in small communities, business development ideas that can thrive. This would be a perfect example of how to follow that through. We've had examples in Dunhill, the enterprise centres there, but this is a really good example of how to make it work.
I think, Damien, the vision was there from the start, and the vision never changed. Now, how we got there changed, but the vision always remained the same. We were going to develop a narrow gauge railway on an abandoned section of the Waterford Cork line from Kilmeaden to Waterford City. It was going to be through a linear park. The Greenway has ticked that box. We were going to connect various tourist attractions and other attractions along the route. Mount Congreve Garden has ticked that box. Eventually, we will operate with a steam engine, and I would hope that we would be making an announcement about that before the end of the year.
That sounds really exciting. Now, before you say anything else, because we have a very important message that has to get out there, the important thing about this, and this is the connection with the council and the connection with the Greenway. And Michael Quinn, who's the Director of Services with the council, he's spoken recently about, at the minute, maybe money not being available to make this connection that the narrow gauge railway goes all the way into the city centre. So I'm just going to ask Mojo there, he's going to play. It's around 90 seconds of a clip, and if you can run that clip now, Mojo. And this is Michael Quinn, Director of Services.
Two major issues you're actually facing is, first one is actually a land take, which will obviously be expensive. We've managed to work to a reasonable degree with the road and the space that's there with a certain limited amount of land take. To add the Suir Valley Railway to that would require a substantially greater land take and would impact significantly on a couple of the businesses along there as well as the development sites. And then the other issue we would face is the topography there would actually make it very expensive. So at this point in time, it certainly is not feasible.
Okay, we had a little bit there from Michael Quinn, Maria. How important is this, that this happens from your perspective?
This is absolutely essential to achieving our goal that we set out back in 2000. If the railway does not go in along with the Greenway, well then it'll never go in. I cannot see it happening. It is absolutely essential. And look, you know what? If we worried about not doing something because it was going to cost too much, nothing would be here. There would be absolutely nothing here. We started with nothing, and we
nearly have all of it left too.
Now, Peter, come in on that, the practicalities of this and what needs to be done. Can it be done from an engineering perspective?
Absolutely, it can be done. There's nothing stopping it. It's 2.5 metre in width is what's required for the track bed for the narrow gauge railway. It was always our plan to get into Waterford City. And even in the Waterford City Development Plan of 2013, this railway getting into Waterford City was included. And that plan was produced by Waterford City Council. So it's a matter of making our mind up what we want to achieve here. Like, imagine we would be the only city on this island who would have a steam engine running into the city centre. Where would you get it?
Padraig?
Even more than that, and like our dream isn't finished. And the other one we had was a rail bus, an electric rail bus, which is like a normal bus on the road, but it's on rail. And sustainability, the big buzzword at the moment. We can have from Gartan Key in Waterford an electric bus running a scheduled service every day, X amount of times a day, to Mount Congreve, to Kilmeaden, wherever. I mean, what council in the country wouldn't love that on the, say, we have an electric, sustainable system running through our city. We can do that. As all we need is the leeway. We don't expect the council to build the track. We will do that from our own resources. But just don't close the door on us. Keep the door open. We held the door open for the Greenway. Keep the door open for the railway.
Maria, make an impassioned plea now to the councillors and to Michael Quinn listening to this now, and to the people to get behind this, to make sure that the council does this.
I would ask you to please look at what we've done, look at what we've achieved over the last 19 years, and look at what we've done on a very, very tight budget. We have achieved pretty much everything we need to achieve. We are looking for 2.5 metres extra on top of the Greenway to get in for 1 kilometre to get from Bilberry into Waterford City. That is what we're looking for.
And this will be part of the CPO, the compulsory purchase order that the council will be doing. So it's not revolutionary. It's a very simple procedure.
It's not revolutionary, and as Padraig says, we're not looking for them to lay the track. We're looking for them to provide the track bed for us. After that, we will chase up grants the way we've always done, and we will look at TEU for grants. We will look to the Department of Transport, to Fáilte Ireland, but we will find the money to lay the track. But please, please, get the track bed for us.
Now, I'm going to take a little moment. Maria Kyte, Business Development Manager, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Padraig O'Grifa, thank you for joining us this morning. Peter Roche, thank you for joining us this morning. The monsoon-like weather, which has just come from Thailand, is just disappearing, and the sun is coming out, Maria. The sun is coming out. God has been listening to your plea. God is on your side. Once you've God on your side now, you're halfway there, isn't that it? Coming up, we are going to play a little interview. I am just having spoken with Dermot Dooley, who's a resident of Kilmeaden. He's heavily involved with the Touching Hearts. You're going to hear him in a minute, just after these little ads from our sponsors.
Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to Mulligan's. Did you know you can collect your Blue Club points online? See mulliganspharmacy.com.
Got that power over me.
Now joining me is Dermot Dooley, resident in Kilmeaden. You're heavily involved, Dermot, with the Touching Hearts charity. Will you tell me a bit about Touching Hearts, please?
I suppose it spawned from the whole idea of the Friends and Family Sacred Heart Centre in Lady Lane there, the little centre there for children with additional needs. And that charity was providing enhancement of, the service and resources and various bits and bobs to help the kids and the staff throughout the day. But I suppose we stood back and we looked at the building and we said that's the problem. The problem is the building is in a bad state and it's there over 40 years and there's no enhancements we made to the building. So we started looking at new charity to look at some serious project like getting a new building. So that's where we're at. We're looking at a new building and we're 4 years down the line. We have, I suppose, 370,000 raised at the moment, and we have our site up in St. Otrans. Up beside it.
370,000. That's not bad going.
Not bad now for a little over 3 years, and all that money has probably come from southeast local people in the city and the surrounding countryside. I'm indebted to the people.
Yeah.
Southeast in particular, because they're. It's like getting anything, Damien, the Cat Lab and the mortuary and all these things are.
There's so many things,
Everyone's fighting for their own little bit,
Not a lot of money to go around, yeah.
That's the problem.
You're a teacher in De La Salle, and tell us about your own situation with Dara.
Well, that 10, he was born, he's 9, just 2 months' time he'd be 10, so I suppose when he was born, it was just a shock to the system, and I can hardly remember anymore what it was like, but the emotions weren't good, and it was a bad place. And of course, after a few years of kind of wondering where we're going, we end up in the Sacred Heart Centre.
So he had poor little Dara. He had, I suppose, it was a lack of oxygen at birth or something like that, and he developed profound difficulties. Then, did he?
Yeah, he's global development delay, and he's non-verbal. He's peg fed, so he's tube fed, and he's totally incapacitated, which means he's 24-hour care. So listen, he had a rough few years there now, probably 5-6 years of not sleeping properly. It's probably the last 2 years we've changed his diet and different things, and he's, it's like, I don't know, it's guinea pig, you could say. We tried things and it didn't work, and things are working well now at the moment, and he's healthy. He's out of hospital. Has been in hospital in 2 years nearly. So we're kind of looking at the general Waterford, the whole Waterford southeast areas. There's lots of children like Dara, and there'll be more children like Dara, and children on different spectrums and different things. It's not just cerebral palsy. It'd be every sort of additional needs that a child would have is catered for in this centre, and we got so much from that centre, Damien. We got Mary Lacey Crow as the manager now. She's a living saint, and she suppose she gave us a bit of hope, and we're trying to give a bit of hope back, and we want to present her with a new building. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, because so many people. Sorry, Dermot. Yeah, so many people speak so highly of the Sacred Heart Centre and those that work there. Like, for those that don't know it, like, it supports children from age 1 up to 18 and their families and with additional needs. Yeah. And the work that goes on there is just phenomenal, isn't it?
It's hard work, though. And like, even as we speak now, Dara's in there. He's in summer camp, you could call it, till 3:30, like, and he gives us a chance to do a few little things, like, cut the grass and things like that, shopping. And like, he's well looked after. And it's not just the care services. They get him out of his wheelchair, and they'll do his physio. They'll put him into a jacuzzi bath. They'll bring him on the greenway. They'll give him as much as they can give him. And even like Mary, Sandra, the rest, they're struggling for staff. It's hard going. Like, it's hard to get staff as well. It's that work is hard work. Like, minding children with so many complex needs. So it is a great centre thing. Yeah,
and as you say, the building is it's grand, but there needs to be a new building built, and that's hopefully up at on John's Hill at Otterans. So there's 1.5 million is the cost. You think that's what you've been sort of told?
Well, yeah, we've been looking at we were looking at the whole idea of selling the site there, and that's gone the wayside because the HC own that site, so that's kind of money in the bank there anyway. But the target would be realistically 1 million. However, if we did reach 800, it'd go to planning straight away. We get the drawings up for the new building, and that might create a bit of excitement. And it's not going to be a white elephant because it's just a building, and the current staff would just automatically transfer into the new building. We're not waiting on staff. There's no staffing issue. We'll be just straight swap. People move into the new building. And we'll link up with the Johnstown services there. There's the occupational therapy and physiotherapy and speech and language therapy, or they're looking for new buildings. So we're going to link in with them and build a one-stop shop kind of for everything. So under one roof, we'll have everything,
That'll be just brilliant, won't it? It'll be just amazing,
yeah. For Waterford, southeast, because we built, but the problem is, the money is, everyone's getting out of the same pot, Damien. We're all looking for the same money, out of the same pot, and we need a good politician now, to have a word in Mr. Barker's ear or Simon Harris. Well, Paddy has done that. Paddy Coffey has helped us out there, and not
very
really
good.
Any political party, but Paddy, in fairness, I'm hoping he'll do more,
And has there been any, have you got any money, or is there any commitment from central government for this so far?
They have committed to the building. The HC have been working with us in partnership, I suppose, and we had quarterly meetings. We decided that the site up St. Otterans, right behind St. Martin's and beside the primary care centre, is where the building is going. So that's official. It's going to happen there. It's just we're this lovely word they use. We're queued for funding. That's the word. It's like the cat lab. It's like the mortuaries. We're waiting. Now, what I envisage is if we got another 400,000, I'd be happy because and the board that we're on would be happy because we can start to plan.
Yes.
And we get your images up in the paper and on the website and on the Facebook, and it becomes a reality then that this is actually happening. And
once people see that, then it gives more of an impetus then, and you can drive it forward, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, we had drawings enough 4 or 5 years ago, like, you know, but we the HC didn't buy it, and we had our own architect given, you know, he gave it free, you know, he didn't take any money, and he did up lovely drawings, but the HC didn't buy into it, and then eventually we got to Leinster House there 2 or 3 years ago, and the HC were put under pressure, and they're there working with us, but just to be honest with you, the powers come from Dublin, and that's it. And we need serious clout up there. Someone there to pull a rabbit out of the hat there and come back and say, "Here we go, lads. Let's get out the diggers and start building this." Because there's a huge list of kids there. You know, especially with the lack of psychology in the southeast. There's a lot of children with autism, and they're not being diagnosed, and they're sitting at home with their parents, and their parents are scratching their heads. They don't know what they're doing, and it's an awful lot. You know, there could be 160 children in the southeast in Waterford who are on the autistic spectrum, and their parents are at the wit's end. And there's only a place like Sacred Heart Centre that can help them, you know.
Yeah. Listen, we'll keep it. Get you on again, and we'll talk again. And mind yourself, and mind Dara. Yeah. Jesus, it's tough going on you, Dermot.
I don't mind, to be honest with you. It's normal. There's people worse off, to be honest with you. There is always someone worse, and listen, we're only here for a short while. We'll just do what we can and try and I'd be dreaming now to see this building up. I like to see it up and running, and for like Maria Kyte, the woman who gets 40 years there and she's still there, like, she deserves it. She deserves to have a legacy there for her as well.
Dermot Dooley, thanks for joining us this morning.
Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to Mulligan's. Did you know you can collect your Blue Club points online? See mulliganspharmacy.com.
You got that power over me, my.
Now, welcome back to the Waterford and Suir Valley Railway. The rain is clearing. The sun is going to come out, Phil. It is. It definitely will. It's definitely going to come out next week. I know, it's looking nice. You know, we're talking tropical Waterford. Forget about the sunny southeast, the tropical southeast. Isn't that right, Paddy? Firstly, before we talk to the three gentlemen in front of me, a lovely mention to Morris from Bowes has been on to me to give it an owl plug. St. Paul's Community College teachers and students. Class of 1989 30-year reunion. It's at the Uluru on Friday, September the 20th. So anybody involved, check out that Facebook page, St. Paul's Community College, Class of 1989 reunion. I'd say there'd be some stories to tell on that. Also, we had a woman on to me from Tramore regarding an incident that took place there last Wednesday evening, where a woman in her 70s was followed home from she was collecting some money in town in Tramore, and she was followed home to her house by two guys, and their guards have followed up on this, and she was robbed of around €800 just outside her home. So we're asking people to, if they have any information about that, to contact the Gardaí in Tramore. Officially, the Gardaí are saying that they're investigating the theft of a woman in her 70s at approximately 1:15 on Wednesday afternoon. It was a male and a female, actually, was approached her from behind and took some cash from her. So we're doing that in the interest of public safety and all that sort of jazz, because it's very important that these people are caught. Now, on a very positive note, we have a young man by the name of Paddy Henry. How are you, Paddy?
I'm very good, no, Jamie.
Are you as young as the first day you trod the boards, huh? You are.
Not quite.
Tell us,
I was 50 when I trod them first, so I'm
50 when you trod the boards first? You were a late starter to drama, were you?
I was very late, yeah.
What brought you into drama? Now, we're talking to Paddy Henry. He's from the local Dawn Players drama group here in Kilmeaden. What brought you so late into it?
Press ganged into it. When Father O'Gordon came here as PP 94, and he set up Dawn Players. And they set out on their first production.
What was that first production? Can you remember?
Lovers and Losers.
Lovely, excellent.
And there was a late withdrawal, and I was press ganged about 10 weeks into rehearsals.
Yeah.
And I was one of the losers.
Now, there's been great people over the years. Obviously, Miriam Daly is still involved at the minute, and you're now in your 23rd year.
25 to be precise.
25 years, yeah. My goodness.
94 we started.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed it? Do you love it?
Oh, I like it. It's pressure, but I suppose it was a new gig, and I've probably done about 15 productions. Lately, I've been taking a back seat as much as I could. It's great to get new people in, and we're always looking for new people. And if they're listening, contact us. It's the lifeblood of the society. New people, they give it a complete new lift every time, so it's great.
It is, and the reason we have you here, and beside you is Phil Brennan, who's involved in Camino Tours. Phil is also a musician and a performer. What Paddy says there, Phil, about new people coming in, and you involved in the Island of Ireland Peace Choir, yeah. It is the lifeblood to keep people coming in, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you can't let, Paddy would know this, you can't let something stagnate. If you always have to be looking at bringing in new music, new drama, new people, and it's the new people that give it a new identity each time. You can stay true to your core principles and values and sound or whatever. Say with the choir we have a distinctive sound, but there's new people that can come in and enhance that. So in the last few years we've had Kirsten Matamar de Rose Tralee. She's one of our new members, and she had something very unique to it. And we've Roche Temple from Slieve Roo, and she's amazing. She's only 19 but a stunning voice, and that just none of us are indispensable, and everything evolves, and it's great to bring in new blood each year.
Des O'Keefe, did you ever trod the boards yourself?
No.
There's always time to start, maybe.
A bit late now. Bit late.
Look at Paddy there. He'll be able to tell you, no, never too late. Now, you might get Des involved, huh? There you go, Paddy.
Too far away.
Des, you're one of the volunteers here.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier to Maria about the importance of volunteers in the Waterford Suir Valley Railway. Why do you do what you do here?
I like to do it, and all family on my mother's side have been involved with railways, with that railway in particular. And when I retired in 98, I'm sorry I didn't sort of start then, rather than wait a few years, but I've been here ever since. I'm here 13, 14 years now.
And what do you do? What does the volunteering aspect do? What jobs do you do? Is it everything and anything?
Within reason.
Yeah.
I do work on the local, sometimes it's electrical work, and I drive, I do rear guard, whatever.
And tell us about your mother's family. You said, what was her maiden name?
Donnelly.
And they were involved in railways?
They were being involved in this. They were on the next level crossing up the way, and most of her brothers and her nephews would have been involved on the railway with different things. As far as I can gather, her father could have been involved in building the railway. Is
there something lovely and romantic about railways?
On a fine day, yes, but not on a wet day.
You're laughing, Paddy. You'd agree with that?
Indeed. No.
Paddy, from somebody who's not directly involved as such, when you hear about the success of the Waterford Suir Valley Railway, what sort of a lift does it give for people in the community?
I'm sure it's tremendous, I'm actually within the stone's throw of the railway, and I'm here with 45 years, so I saw its introduction and the demise of the old system, But it's beautiful, and the addition of the Greenway now has enhanced it immeasurably,
Phil Brennan, you're involved in Camino Tours, and this connection between different groups, different bodies, different social enterprises like the Greenway and like the Suir Valley Railway, it allows for another business like your business to develop. It's amazing how one thing can spawn and lead another.
Yeah, it's amazing. Collaboration is the key. Working with teams, and the team here at Waterford Suir Valley Railway, they're amazing. We love, our visitors are shocked at what Waterford has to offer. That's the first thing I'd say. We enter the Greenway at Kilmeaden, that quiet car park there. Immediately you're onto the River Suir. The calm and the peace early morning. We do a mindful session early morning. And honestly, Damien, the general reaction of people when they visit Waterford is they never realised what Waterford had to offer. And we walk gently up here to the station, have a cuppa, have the chats.
Because it is the gentle county.
It is. And but people just love the stillness of the place, and they love the warmth of the welcome here. And I think there's a time of opportunity for Waterford in tourism now. Traditionally, Waterford only gets 560,000 of the 9 million visitors that come to Ireland every year, and the bulk of them, and no disrespect to the iconic attractions, they're amazing. The Crystal and the Treasures have to be there. They're the core dominant thing. But there's a time now to reach out beyond that and really promote ourselves as a slow time tourism destination, that they get to see the treasures and the Waterford Waterford, Chris, but they get out to places like here in Kilmeaden, up the Greenway to Kilmacthomas and onto Durrow and so on, up the Cumras, out to Dunmore East, over to Lismore, Ardmore. We've so many iconic attractions that are relatively undiscovered compared to the west of Ireland.
Des, what do you think of that? Do you think Phil is talking sense?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's when you go someplace else and there's people standing looking at it. Well, that's better than that down here in Waterford, all the way along. No, I live in Sheep Point, and it's roadways, it's a dead end. You got to go in and out the same road. But like it's you can go up on the Malone, you can look out on the river, you can look down to Dunmore East. You can see. I can see every morning I get up. If it's a fine morning, I can see Mount Leinster, I can see all Kilkenny, Mount Brandon, Dunbrody Abbey, all that kind of a vista, and it's just there. And to be there again tomorrow morning, and when I'm gone, it can be still there. So, like, you know, with the Greenway here and the tours on it and all the rest of it, it's an opening that's waiting to happen, and it's not developed enough and it's not used enough, which is the most thing. And
there is that thing, I'll come to you in a second, Paddy. Some tourist attractions across the world, but particularly in Ireland, they become overpopulated. Yeah. And it's not a case of that you want to go to see something, it's a case that you have to go and tell somebody afterwards, I've seen it, the Book of Kells being an example. But you're not going to have a good experience there because you're going to be crammed.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're just literally going to be crammed into it. So the next tourist development they're talking about for the next 10 years is exactly what you're talking about. Is that experience of something that is wholesome and gives you a nice feeling.
Yeah, I think the key is to anticipate what's coming in, as you rightly say, Damien. That whole move, there's a shift in tourism now towards mindful timeouts. Look at what the UNESCO Global Geopark in the Copper Coast has to offer. Like, it's phenomenal, and there's talk about linking that and Anne's Valley to Mount Congreve, which will be linked to the Greenway. There's scope to link the Greenway then to the Mahon Falls and on to the St. Declan's Way. Like, there is an opportunity here, and just one last thing, our visitors, the key thing that they emphasise is that we'd one tour in from that were meant to be going to Killarney and to the Cliffs of Moher, and they were so overwhelmed by the numbers there, they rang their operator and said, we need to go somewhere quieter in Ireland, and Waterford was to go to.
And there's going to be more places to that. Waterford Camino Tours, you can follow you on Facebook and get it through the website. Paddy, Hennebury, what have you got coming up, Dawn players? Anything happening at present?
No, we haven't the plans put in place. September is the big planning month.
Right.
And generally we run late January for 4 nights in the local school hall.
That's right, yeah. I know a lot of people have been. I haven't been there yet myself. I'll go this January, okay? I heard some great productions. Fabulous.
We've had iconic productions, really. Yes. Like, you know, we've done a lot of comedy in recent years. Mainly since the onset of the downturn, we've done a lot
to lift the spirits.
Yes, we've done a lot of comedy, and we've done it very successfully, in actual fact, like, you know.
And there's a few comedians here working with you, Des O'Keefe. Noel will be one. We're going to be talking to him now in a second.
We don't really go down that road.
Now, coming up in a second, we're going to have some brilliant music from a local band and musical duo. So keep it here, and we'll be back in a second.
Join the WLR conversation on Twitter using hashtag Déise Today.
With thanks to mulliganspharmacy.com.
Everyone likes to take it easy on a Saturday morning. You don't want anything too heavy, too serious, a bit of lively, good-natured debate with your friends, and maybe a bit of advice if you need it. Well, you can do all that pretty easily by tuning in to the Saturday Cafe with me, Maria McCann, from 10 a.m. to midday every Saturday morning. See where the conversation takes you.
WLR's Saturday Cafe with Maria McCann.
Thanks to Faith Leg. For great golf, drive out to Faith Leg.
So, what's important about your local pharmacy? That they have the best beauty brands at good prices? For sure. But what's really important is that your local pharmacy knows you.
You'll need Factor 50 in the sun. This one from La Roche-Posay is ideal.
That your local pharmacy knows you and your family.
For your skin type, this is perfect to top up your tan.
That your local pharmacy can give you the best advice on your beauty and healthcare.
This fragrance has a gorgeous scent of summer.
The beauty rooms at Mulligan's, Tramore, Listuggan and Dunmore Road. Book your appointment online at mulliganspharmacy.com.
This is a message from the Rape and Sexual Abuse Centre. Think about it. Just because the person you're with is not saying no, do not assume they're saying yes. Be very clear about consent. Rape is a serious crime. If you've been raped or sexually abused recently or in the past, we can help. You can contact us on free phone 1-800-296
296. Transform the roofline of your home and say goodbye to painting with Cresthaven's fabulous range of fascia, soffit and guttering. With competitive rates and top-class workmanship, look no further than cresthaven.ie and choose from an extensive range of colour and wood grain finishes. For a free quotation, phone 051 843 444.
Go for the best with Cresthaven!
How will I manage my college fees? I didn't think about this part. Mom, do we have to go back to school? I don't want the holidays to end.
I know, me neither.
Wondering how to cover college and school costs? With loans for college and back to school, Dungarvan Credit Union will help ease you back into the school and college year. Make the educated decision. Contact Dungarvan Credit Union today or visit dungarvancu.ie for your school or college loan. Terms and conditions apply. Dungarvan Credit Union is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to mulliganspharmacy.com. Life's a beach with Mulligan's Pharmacies. Open late on the Dunmore Road and in Tramore.
Okay, welcome back to the Waterford and Suir Valley Railway. We have a special outside broadcast here this morning. The numbers are beginning to swell here because we've got a lot of children coming along. We've got our street team doing sort of Connect 4 type of jobbies there. I must give an old go at that. Love the old Connect 4. There's Dick. How are you, Dick? How's it going? Great stuff. And we've got visitors coming down. The rain has now stopped, so it's no longer tropical southeast. We're now heading back to sunny southeast. Ailíse and Bodgan. Ailíse, how's it going?
Not too bad, thanks.
Tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, myself and Dan, I'm in a band with my sister, the Knotted Chords, and we do covers around town. And myself and Dan met one night, and we were chatting about music, and then we started to kind of have similar interests, and we started playing together and sessions, and we just decided to like write our own music and stuff. And
Dan, tell us about your style.
It's really hard to define a style in music, I guess. We have a lot of influences, and we are trying to combine everything. So we try to write an R&B, neo soul, a bit of jazz, pop rock, folk as well. So we try to combine everything, and every song has different style. So
because it's very difficult. A lot of bands coming up don't want to be bracketed, don't want to be put into a bracket.
So I think today we're going to perform kind of contemporary folk song and maybe a bit of pop rock song as well. So that's kind of the two styles that we're focusing at the moment. But again, it's really hard to define a style in music that we play.
Is it important, Ailíse, that you develop your own style as you go along?
yeah, I think so. Like growing up, I kind of was in a very trad household. My dad plays the banjo, and I learned the banjo. But
tell us about your dad.
Yeah, he's playing 40 years. He kind of played in bands around town. And
what's his name?
Hughie O'Neill. Yeah, so we're only from Butterstown, just up the road. And yeah, you grow up in kind of that surrounding, and then you start listening to other music like soul and blues, and trying to find your own style and sound that you like. And yeah, I kind of like a lot of female singers like Janis Joplin, Gillian Welch, Joan Jett, just kind of influenced by that as well. So
okay, well, without further ado, as I said, there's a nice crowd coming around here now. The sun is now out. We're in Kilmeaden. We're at the Waterford and Suir Valley Railway, celebrating the success of the marvellous facility that is here. Okay, folks, take it away.
Thank you.
I'm crying, darling, can't you see that? I wanted to build my future with you, but you left me hanging, you made me lose, and now I'm on your doorstep and I have to choose. Take a high road, forget and leave, never to ring your doorbell. Or write a side note, drop down on my knees and beg you to start it all over. And I know what the right answer is, but I won't say it out loud, 'cause I also know you wouldn't like it, no. And I know what the right answer is, but I won't say it out loud. my mouth shut. Drives me insane, and I hope I will never feel this way again. You can't imagine how it's hard for me to tell when the reality meets the dream. Heads or tails, let's flip a coin. Put our best, the winner takes it all. To turn around, forget and leave, or write a side note on my knees. And I know what the outcome will be, but I won't say it out loud.
Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to Mulligan's. Did you know you can collect your Blue Club points online? See mulliganspharmacy.com.
Got that power over me.
Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to mulliganspharmacy.com. Life's a beach with Mulligan's Pharmacies. Open late on the Dunmore Road and Intramore.
Now, welcome back to the Waterford and Suir Valley Railway. I'm joined now by three legends. I'd say you describe yourselves as legends, do you, lads?
Oh my God.
Not exactly.
We've got Pat Hennessy. Pat, you're involved with the local garage here over the years.
That's right, Damien. And I'm involved with the railway here since the early 60s. Tyres were delivered to me from Dunlop's in Cork, which are now sadly gone by, and we used to collect the tyres here on the railway, and there was other different things used to come as well, and poor old Matty Noel, and God rest him, Matty was a great man to let me know when stuff was coming or whatever, and that's about it. I don't think I've anything else to say. It was a lovely, it was a pity it was gone, but sure, now hopefully it'll be like a phoenix, it'll rise up from the ashes here now with help of Noel and Maria Kyte and them all, and John Leary's input from the political side.
It's a lovely way to describe it there, and we can hear the volunteers over there shouting all aboard, because the train is just about to take off and head up towards Mount Congreve. Noel O'Sullivan, you've been here, one of the first lads that have been involved in helping to get it going at the start. Can you believe the success it's been?
Well, it's like this. We had a future for it, but it has gone past all expectations at present, and please God, we're going to go further. Our adventure is also to get to Waterford City, and with the help of City Council, County Council, the whole lot, they will give us the track bed to get to the city.
Tony Colfer,
yes,
former school teacher here as well.
Exactly, yes. I'm here a few years, just an ordinary volunteer. We all enjoy ourselves here. But I must say this whole area is steeped in history, story, legend. For instance, this very station, the bridge down there, the stone bridge, that's made of limestone. Irish limestone, the very same stone that they use in the Blarney stone. And we have said to American visitors come here and they go on the railway, listen, go down and kiss the stone on that bridge. It'll have the very same effect on you as kissing the Blarney stone. And they love that.
And have any of them, do they kiss the stone?
No, they don't. They need a bit more encouragement. But they will.
How could you encourage them?
Well, I suppose we could make it nice for them. We told them this every night we wash the stones with carbolic acid in case there's any germs or any infection coming through. As a matter of fact, and indeed, if they want to record it, Maria Kyte, our manager, will record it for them on vellum, on parchment, and gold letters, whatever they like. Now, going further down.
Hold on a second.
Yes.
Pat, there's no chance of you kissing the stone there now that Tony wants you to kiss.
My legs wouldn't be long enough to reach to hang me from the bridge. Like.
You'd have to hang upside down or sideways or whatever, huh?
Scaffolding or something.
Noel, can you believe that out of Tony's mouth? Is he the most knowledgeable man here in Kilmeaden?
Well, you can believe everything.
Thank you, Noel.
Because Tony speaks truth. Isn't that right, Tony?
Sometimes parables. He speaks in parables sometimes.
Always has to be in parables.
Kiro, Gala.
Tell me about what's further up the line. You were going to tell me further up the line.
Straight down the line, you come to the Magic Wood.
The Magic Wood. Tell us about the Magic Wood.
It is beautiful. It was cut out of the rock by the workers here, say about 1870. Now, they would have been paid about 15 shillings a week for that work. You can still see on the walls of the Magic Wood, Noel will agree with me, the marks of the chisels, the hammers that they used to cut out that rock.
Why is it magic?
It's magic because, Noel, you know this and I know this. Particularly at this time of the year.
Oh, now we're going to listen to a big secret now here.
They do. People go into that Magic Wood in the night time.
Be no kissing.
And many a time 2 people have gone in and 3 people have come out.
Now that sounds like Noel, that sounds like magic to me.
Pure magic.
Pure magic.
The pure magic, yeah. And they're being watched now by the fairies.
Oh, the fairies. Tell us about the fairies.
And also, a lot of people come. It's the third Thursday night of every month. We have the Sunset Express.
That sounds lovely.
With champagne, strawberries, and live music.
And a bit of
entertainment. And then, more so, the sun setting on the river, which is fantastic.
Beautiful.
So I'd advise all people, this is the last one for this year, come on the third Thursday night of the month. This will be the last one probably this year.
It is one of the most beautiful, Pat, hidden gems. Like you talk about a little railway and Asher, what's on it? The scenery is beautiful, isn't it, Pat?
It's lovely, yes.
Like going up by the shore of Mount Congaree, it's just beautiful.
Yeah. But it's lovely for the kids now. I have grandkids and we walk them in through the woods there, and they have these little fairy doors that they nail up against the trees and that, and put
Tony would know all about the names of the fairies as well.
Messages on them, but Tony said like that, 2 people go into the wood and 3 people come out. Well, the third person usually comes out 9 months later.
Tony,
I didn't say that.
Tell us about the names of the fairies. Who's your favourite fairy?
There's the fairies up in the woods to be seen, beautiful fairies. There's Tinkerbell. I was going to say Tinkerbell, the Sugar Plum Fairy, the Tooth Fairy, and of course the Fairy Liquid Fairy. It is still there. People say it is still there.
Gentlemen, I'm going to let you go for a second. Noel, thank you so much. Tony, thank you so much. Tony could talk for Ireland, I'd say, Noel, could he?
Well, we give him that freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. And Pat Hennessy, thanks very much. You're very, very good. The Ratha God, John O'Leary, that introduces you nicely. How are you going on?
Very good, Damien. And you're very welcome to Kilmeaden, all the WLRFM team. It was great to see you here.
When you hear Tony tell little stories like that, I'd say there's a lot of other stories around the area
Actually,
here.
There's a vast amount of stories about Kilmeaden. You're in one of the richest parts of Waterford from a history and a cultural point of view. And, the Kilmeaden Suir Valley Railway is certainly endorsing that and giving the opportunity for people to learn, people to come here and to learn more about Kilmeaden. You're deep in history.
You're a councillor, and Matt Shanahan has just texted me to say that he will be supporting, and a lot of councillors will be supporting, the extension of the Suir Valley Railway into the city. What's your view about this? Because we heard Maria Kyte earlier on the business plan that it really has to happen.
Yeah, well, my position on that is I raised it at the last council plenary meeting after Maria Kyte came to me there earlier in the summer. So I raised it with Michael Quinn, whom I heard his reply on WLR FM this morning. Now, it was a no-no from their perspective because of requiring more land and I suppose from a financial perspective. But I would say that this is at the very early stage. I would think that it certainly would be the making of the Suir Valley Railway if we could get into the city. There's 2.5 million being given for the extension of the walkway into the city, and I tell you, to cap it off, it would be the icing on the tea to have the railway extended. And I think, look, we will get more support for this. I certainly will keep it on the agenda. I want to see it happening, and I want real and meaningful discussions on it. And I think it can be done. I was very.
You can understand Michael Quinn's point of view, though, that money is very, very tight.
Money is very, very tight. Of course, money is always tight. But look, maybe under urban or rural regeneration, that money can come on hold. It depends on how the economy spans out over the next couple of years. But look, it's something I think that the Suir Valley Railway and all of us who have an interest in it want to see achieved, and I certainly will be betting for it.
Because we were talking to Ger Barron yesterday about this, and he was involved obviously in the Greenway over the years, and so many people, and the success of the Greenway, not just nationally but internationally, and how it's brought people in. And you heard Phil Brennan talking about this idea of the tourist experience being so important. Like, this is a major success story, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a major success story, and this has been further now enhanced by the investment and development that's going to take place in Mount Congreve. There is a whole new proposals for Mount Congreve. There are the upgrading of the house plus a lift, the upgrading of the gardens. What they're going to do is, we have a world-class garden there. They're going to turn it into a world-class visitor centre. The visitor at the numbers at the moment in Mount Congreve is around 40,000 a year. The council, in association with Bord Fáilte, is hoping to raise that up to 150,000 a year over the next number of years. So that's an ambitious programme, but a lot has been done there, a lot of plans, and we've passed Part 8 only last week, the Cumberland District Council, to allow this to go ahead and happen. So it's very exciting times.
And it's one of the most beautiful gardens in the country.
It is indeed, and you know, I tell you, the big catch for Waterford and for the future of Waterford is an awful lot of people come to Waterford to visit, say, Waterford Crystal Centre. And I worked in Waterford Crystal, and I saw over the years 30 to 40 buses a day coming to visit the Crystal Centre but leaving straight away. I think the development of Mount Congreve will mean that there's something else to go to. There's something real and tangible in Waterford, and that may give the opportunity of overnight stays. I mean, that is the secret of all success of business, is to get the people to stay and stay as long as you can. But I think Mount Congreve, the development of Mount Congreve will ensure that can happen.
And there might even be little pods and little place to stay in the Fairy Wood. Tony will be able to get people into the Fairy Wood.
Well, Mount Congreve are certainly developing accommodation there right, as well. So, and just one last point, the extension of the Greenway here in Kilmeaden down to the Suir Valley Railway, which will mean the people of Kilmeaden, the people of Ballyduff, will no longer have to negotiate the motorway roundabout, which was a small bit debilitating for families if you're walking or cycling and wanted to come on the Greenway with your bicycle. Well, now the extension of the Greenway will make sure that can happen in a safe mode.
John O'Leary, you mentioned Ballyduff. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be talking to Ballyduff Lower GAA club members in a second. Back after this.
Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to Mulligan's. Did you know you can collect your Blue Club points online? See mulliganspharmacy.com.
Got that power over me.
Now, welcome back to the Waterford and Suir Valley Railway. The sun is going to make an appearance in the next 6.5 minutes. Isn't that right, Tyrone? 6.5 minutes. We're going to predict that there now. Some nice crowds of people coming around. It's one of the busiest places for tourism in Waterford and has been over the last number of years. Tourist numbers are growing here. We're here with WLR's special outside broadcast to celebrate all that's good about Ballyduff, about Kilmeaden, about the Suir Valley Railway. And we have two gentlemen in front of me who are involved in making memories for a lot of people, and making memories through sport, isn't that it? We've got Brian Hearne, juvenile chairperson of Ballyduff Lower GAA club. How are you, Brian?
How are you doing, Damien?
We've got John Fitzgerald, club chair. How are you, John?
Very well, Damien.
Good. John, we know you through other forms as well. When was the last time we would interviewed you?
Oh, I suppose maybe Glanbia and other farming topics. But we'll say that the main love here is in Ballyduff.
How do you base yourself within the community in terms of the involvement with the GAA? How important is the club to the community here?
I suppose the fact that we're a growing community here, it really starts in the school. If you haven't the school, we'll say the teachers on board, they give the kids the first introduction into GAA. And fortunately on our side, Brian and his team of coaches in the juvenile section, they take it on and they foster it with the kids and make it a fun element for them and give them a good introduction into it. Plus, as I say, we have a lot of new people living in the area. They have come on board, and I think we've built facilities now to cater for them all. And it's an ongoing thing to build those facilities.
And what you've done as well, Brian, is you've done a collaboration with Portlaw as well, sometimes in terms of combining teams and making things work better. That's important as well to foster a sense of togetherness and also to get a bit of competition going and to improve the standard, isn't it?
Yes, of course, Damien. We have an academy section within the club which starts off the juveniles. Girls and boys train together from 4 to 11. We have found it difficult to field teams maybe after that when people get into the teenage years, and there has been a collaboration there with Portlaw over the last few years which has been very successful, and thanks to Portlaw for that and their cooperation. And now we find we're able to compete and field teams at maybe a higher level and keep playing at these age groups, which I suppose are harder to field teams at when people get into the late teens. You tend to lose players then.
And is this your young lad here beside you?
Yes, that's Rian, yes.
Hello, Rian, how are you? Good. Come here, talk to us for a second. What do you like about sports as a young lad?
It's just fun playing because you make new friends, and it's just good to have some competition when you're young.
You play a bit of soccer as well?
Yeah.
Very good. Tell us about the soccer club. Ballyduff Soccer Club is a very good soccer club as well.
Yeah, it's good. We play a lot in under 11 league and we win a couple of games, but we're good.
You are good because I've played against you a few times. And again, that soccer club, we don't have anybody here from the soccer club this morning. The soccer club is important for the community as well, and it's important that the youngsters, boys and girls, get as much sport as possible. Isn't that it, Brian?
Yeah, correct, Damien. In fairness, I know people talk about competition at juvenile level with different sports, and there's so much on offer for everyone, but we don't see it as competition really out here. We embrace the whole thing that kids should be playing a lot of sports, and we encourage them to do that. And in fairness, we have great cooperation with the local soccer club. We're constantly talking, arranging matches around different times so they don't clash, because basically it's the same pool of kids that we're dealing with, and we don't want the kids to have to make a choice. They should be able to play everything, so it's up to the adults then to talk, and in fairness, it's working very well out here.
Because what happens, John, is if a young lad or a young girl has a good experience as a child in terms of their connection with a GAA club, and that they're not being forced one way or the other, there may be times, obviously, lads have to make decisions, but it gives a nice sense of feeling for them and for their parents, and it will then help them involve themselves longer in the club.
Yeah, definitely. I think the more successful, we'll say, the teams in the soccer club, the juvenile section of the GAA, it keeps a bunch of guys together. They enjoy each other's company, they grow together, have a bit of crack, as you probably know from off the pitch.
We've got a big match on this weekend. The Waterford ladies football are taking part in the All-Ireland Senior Championship quarter-finals against Galway, and it's going to be up in Longford at 2:45 on the 10th of August. So it's going to be live on TG Cahir, and we want to wish all the involved in the Waterford women's team. That's a massive match. John, women's football and camogie has developed and is developing massively in Waterford, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the structures at the camogie level in particular, and ladies football was always strong here in Waterford. We had very successful teams back in the past, and that's starting to recome back again. But in terms of camogie, I think again we'll say the Ursuline, I think inside have been very successful. There's a base coming through there at underage level that's feeding into the senior camogie team, and that's really positive. They were back up there. We wouldn't have been mentioned maybe as a senior camogie team in the past, but now we're really competitive. And they put up a great performance last weekend.
I was just going to say that they showed that last week. And Brian, that's great because it inspires the boys as well to say if the girls can do it. Like to be in an Ireland quarter-final for the women in the seniors, that's a big, because only a few years ago they were still playing intermediate in the football and they've come back up again. So it's a great sign.
Yeah, it is totally. Damien, I suppose in fairness, no matter what, whether it's LGFA hurling, camogie, whatever. If Waterford are competing, it inspires boys and girls, and I mean that's the whole thing. And especially, I suppose our club are looking at that. Retention of players is a huge thing, and especially girls. There has been problems with retention of girls playing, and I suppose we're at the forefront of that, trying to keep girls playing in sport as long as we possibly can, because it's all healthy. It feeds into the community, feeds into parents, the whole lot.
And that leads us very nicely, gentlemen, to what's going to come up next, because we're going to be talking to Martin Flavin from the Waterford District League. He's going to be talking about referees, and we can talk all about referees, and you're laughing there, John. We talk about the standard of refereeing, both in soccer and in GAA and all sorts of stuff. Listen, continued success, John Fitzgerald, chairperson of Ballyduff Lower. Continued success. Well done on all the great work you're doing and all the pitch development. I know there's lots of stuff going on there. Well done, Brian. Continued success with that. Brian Hare, Juvenile Chair. So coming up after this quick break, we have Martin Flavin, who's going to talk about referees and the new soccer season that's just about to kick off.
Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to Mulligan's. Did you know you can collect your Blue Club points online? See mulliganspharmacy.com.
Start your weekend with WLR's Sean Organ, live every Saturday and Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Featuring the morning papers, news and sports updates, all your Waterford happenings, and the best music. Plus, giveaways every hour, Sunday lunches, CDs, cinema and concert tickets, and more. Sean's Saturday and Sunday Sunrise on WLR. Thanks to the Tower Hotel Waterford.
For selection, for value, for free parking. More and more shoppers are travelling to the Waterford Shopping Centre.
James, Dungarvan, Costa definitely. Just I have a few friends who live around here and I like to drive down and meet them there. Deals definitely, because everything there is about $150.
With Heaton's, Tesco, Deals, Mulligan's and 22 great stores like Fresh and Frozen, Travel Creations, Cavendish Newsagents and Costa Coffee. It's all under one roof at the Waterford Shopping Centre, Lisduggan.
Everyone just greets you with a smile and they're all really friendly. And free parking is just essential.
Shopping Centre. Dungarvan Shopping Centre at the heart of West Waterford. Make it your home for all your shopping needs. Fashion, food, gifts, jewellery and more at Dungarvan Shopping Centre. With over 600 car park spaces, parking is never a problem. 50 retail units, one great location. It will pay you to find us at Dungarvan Shopping Centre.
For the best award-winning food at the best value and the best location, it has to be the Granville. Serving food all day from 10 a.m. with breakfast or morning coffee, tea and scone. Carvery lunch from 12:30 to 2:30 and extensive bar food menu available daily till 9:30. For award-winning food, it has to be the Granville.
Definitely the Granville.
Hello, my dear. I'm your fairy godmother. Whoa! So do I get 3 wishes? I'm not a genie, darling. Well, I want the best party ever, with giant balloons and banners with my name on it. Well, you can get all that at Party World. Oh, well, I want to look like a princess or a goblin. Yeah, Party World have a great selection of costumes. Okay, well, I wish I was at Party World then. Good choice, child.
Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to Mulligan's. Did you know you can collect your Blue Club points online? See mulliganspharmacy.com.
You got that power over me.
Martin Flavin, good morning.
Morning, Damien.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Martin, tell us, what is your position within the Waterford and District Junior League?
Well, it was secretary. It's now secretary stroke administrator. Same job, just a different title.
You've been involved in Waterford football for many, many years.
54.
54 years. Playing career?
Playing career. I started with Tramore, played with Tramore Rangers, Hibernians and Seaview Celtic.
And tell us about your refereeing career.
As a Seaview member, we had to do a referees course. It was part of the league rules at the time. Each club had to have a referee who had done the referees course in the event of not enough referees to do matches on a weekend. I did it, liked it and stayed there. First year I refereed part-time and played part-time. Second year I went full-time.
What did you prefer?
I have to say, I think, looking back, I prefer the refereeing.
Yeah.
People always ask me, how do you put up with abuse? I never saw it as abuse. up to and including the last game, which I did, but it was for personal reasons. I just saw it as people shouting at a man in black, or yellow, or green, or whatever it would be.
People are passionate.
People are passionate. It wasn't personal. Most people who come off the pitch and say sorry for what happened. One guy, I won't mention his name, he was very well known at the time. One guy spent 5 years not talking to me, roughly. 5
years?
For sending him off where he kicked the player. Look.
Did he deserve to be sent off?
Yes. I had no option. Look, he's the only one I know of, Damien. There's probably others, but he's the only one that made it known to me.
I'd say you heard some excuses over the years on the field of why somebody shouldn't be sent off.
Loads of excuses. Loads
Any
of
good ones?
Good ones. The sun was in my eyes. I didn't see what was happening. The favourite one was when I made a decision, get the hair out of your eyes. As you know, I don't have hair. These sort of things. One guy one day he was fouled and I blew up with the 3-pointer and he wanted to take him where the ball had landed. The guy played a get football. These sort of things, look, there's always good humour. There's some great characters. I mean, Ned Jubry was a great character. I've had a few little spats with Ned over the years, but you could meet him the next day, all forgotten.
And you enjoyed it?
I absolutely loved it, and I still love it, Damien. I absolutely love football. I could talk about it all day.
Yeah.
My wife will tell you I do talk about it all day. But I'm absolutely passionate about football.
And isn't it great to be involved still, and now in an administrative role, with something that you love?
Damien, if I could have got a job in football as a young man, something like I'm doing now, it would have been my dream job. So it's now, as I'm retired from work, it is my dream job.
There's a call out as well. We'll be talking about this in September. We'll give it a mention now. There's a shortage of referees.
A big shortage of referees, Damien. We recently met with the referees, assessors and some of the committee, and we came up with a plan. We set up a subcommittee, one from each association, and we're going to the schools to try and get transition year students involved. Get them young, get them into school by football, and hopefully they'll stay. So the response in the city has been great. I believe, I think one school has said they'll have 30 people ready to do it.
Wow.
We put out an email recently to the clubs, and I've been told at least 6 or 7 have come forward. So hopefully the course will be the second week in September. So we're hoping that by then we'll get more people.
If anybody wants any information on it, just contact or email.
Contact myself or contact. I've sent the contact details for the referees assessors to all the clubs.
All the clubs. So if anybody's involved in the soccer club in Waterford or in South Kilkenny or Carrick,
anywhere, Damien,
that they should be able to give you information about that.
Just let us know, Damien, that they can continue to play. So we were hoping that maybe some 4th division players who are coming to the end of their career.
You're not looking at me now there, are you? I'm long past
there. But look, if there was any,
any
who are thinking of staying in the game, some people would stay in coaching. It's something that I would have never been any good at. Maybe they might think about it, like for maybe this year, next year, if they're playing on Sunday, referee on Saturday, referee not a 15 or 16 game, or even if they wanted to join the referee society, do a youth match on a Sunday if they're playing on Saturday.
Because it keeps them involved in football. It also helps pass on the knowledge and I suppose the enthusiasm that you'd have as a footballer to a younger generation. And,
absolutely.
And you're saying, okay, I'm giving something back to the game that's given me so much. There's obviously a few bob in it, but people shouldn't do it for the money.
No,
they should do it for the love of it.
If you're doing it for the money, Damien, you're in the wrong game. I remember many years ago there was an issue. It was aired on WLR. Some referee had made a few mistakes in a schoolboy match, and there was a big discussion about how well paid they were being, and it should be better. I actually rang the station at the time. I had been on the line in an FAI Junior Cup match I think it was in Tipperary. I'd left my house at 9 o'clock, got home about 6 o'clock that evening for €12. Because you're not in it for the money. I always said to him when I refereed, I was getting paid for my hobby. It wasn't. I mean, you wouldn't make a fortune,
Yeah.
but look, I would have been doing it anyhow, and most of the lads that were refereed at the time, and I'm not saying lads, I'm not doing it, don't get me wrong, but the lads that I refereed with, they are doing it because they want to be referees and they want to progress in refereeing.
Yes.
And there is opportunities. You might have mentioned Michelle O'Neill, who was at the launch of the football exhibition. Fantastic,
fantastic opportunities.
World Cup final, and now the Super Cup.
Yeah, and refereeing does allow you people of different abilities. So you don't have to be a good footballer to be a good referee.
No.
And sometimes somebody who may have been a very good footballer, male or female, refereeing might not suit them, as you say. Coaching might suit them. It just depends, but it's worth giving it a go.
It's worth giving it a go. I mean, there's different skills involved, like man management is one of them. Respect, and respect goes both ways. There's no point in you having players respecting the referee if the referee doesn't respect the players, and vice versa. It's a two-way street.
And I've been involved with the Junior League as well for a while, and also the disciplinary meetings, because you have obviously people being sent off and you have to call them in then. The disciplinary committee has to call them into Osier, into the famous meetings in Osier, and they have to explain themselves about why they shouldn't get a 3, 4 or 5 match ban. Some interesting stories.
Yes, Damien, I think any of the lads involved will tell you that I'm down there 10 years. I think we had 2 people come in and say, yes, I did it. One young lad came in, he had punched a player. And when he was asked why, he said he deserved it. Honest. He was honest. Most people
people deny it or say it
human
didn't
human
happen.
nature.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, the referee was poor. He made that bad decision. It's human nature.
It's always an excuse.
We'd all do it.
Blame somebody else.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, under FAI rules, if they can't prove beyond doubt that the referee made a mistake, a league, and I won't say the Water League, a league must go with the referee's report.
The Waterford and District League, very strong history, great tradition. Osier is the heart of that,
yes,
and remains that. And we've got obviously great football people around the city, the county, the clubs involved. There's a West Waterford League as well. So the clubs involved with Waterford were stretched down Dungarvan, Abbeyside, Ballin Road.
Yes.
And then up to South Kilkenny. So we've got Mooncoin, Pilltown, Mulnavat in the past, Granny in the past, over to Carrick, Ferrybank. The league is just about to start.
Yes.
Can you believe another league coming around?
No, it comes on so fast. Although we did finish early this year, season finished. We finished 17th of May, which is unheard of. It just come around so fast again. We started in June, getting ready for our AGM. Michael O'Neill, as fixture, started a few weeks after getting the fixtures. Now he has sent fixtures out up to the end of September. There will be changes.
Does phenomenal work with that, because it's very difficult getting the fixtures going.
It is,
we hear about it in the GAA and fixtures and all that, and to do it from a football perspective, very difficult.
I'm the face of, because I'm the one that people and they say you're doing great work. I'm only the face of football and of the Junior League, Damien. It's the people behind me that are doing the work. And that allows me to say to a club, yes, you can change that match, or no, you can't. But I can't do that without the backing of the committee. They give me a bit of leeway, but ultimately, it's a strong committee behind me.
Yeah, and John Foskin is chairperson there, doing marvellous work. As you say, Michael O'Neill, you've got Michael Butler there, you've got Willie O'Callaghan there, Brendan White doing stuff with the FAI in terms of the registration of players. How would you classify or define football at Junior League level in Waterford at present?
I think, Damien, having spoken to the FAI and having spoken to other leagues, the trend in football seems to be that leagues are losing people, losing clubs. Although we've lost clubs over the last few years, one of them has come back this year after a lapse of 18 years, Kilbarry Rangers, which is brilliant. We are increasing in a number of teams. Last year we had just over 86. As it stands, we have 98 this year, having lost 2 only this week.
Wow.
We had 100. That's bucking the trend nationally.
Yeah.
The football in Waterford they're passionate about football, Damien. Although some of them are dual players, some of them are playing GA, but they're playing soccer as well. And this is going back a long time. I played with Tom Casey, who was a very well-known GA player. He signed for CV Athletic every year. Great man to have around.
Great characters.
Great characters. Great. You have Dan Shannon, Dan and Morris Shannon playing in Lismore.
Yeah,
you know, there is Tony Brown played. So they do play both sports, and I think that's fantastic. And I personally would love to see more cooperation between soccer and GAA. And all sports, actually, all sports.
Because people any sports person wants to play as many sports as possible for as long as possible and try to work out the fixtures with that. And maybe it's more applicable with the schoolboys as well. And obviously the schoolboys league do a lot of work there. And now you've got the girls league, the women's league is growing and expanding. So there's a lot happening in football in Waterford.
There's a lot happening, Damien. The big problem that I see at the minute is facilities. You take any club, take any average club, you might have 7, 8, 9 teams between junior, youths, ladies, girls. You only have one pitch. That's a problem to get all the fixtures into that one pitch. So we all have to work together and come up with a plan so that everyone gets their slot, and hopefully it will be sorted pretty quickly.
The league is starting on August the
Monday the 19th. Straight away, there's a problem that we didn't know about. Waterford have a rearranged match that night
with Rovers.
Now we try as much as possible not to clash with Waterford, because people want to go to see them. We don't know. We'll see what something be done about that.
We'll keep an eye on it. You're still enjoying it, Martin?
I love it, Damien. Love it.
Martin Flavin, thank you for joining us this morning.
Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to Mulligan's. Did you know you can collect your Blue Club points online? See mulliganspharmacy.com.
You got that power over me.
Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to mulliganspharmacy.com. Life's a beach with Mulligan's Pharmacies. Open late on the Dunmore Road and Intramore.
Now, welcome back to the Waterford and Suir Valley Railway. Some good crowds here this morning. The rain has stopped. Whether the sun is going to come out has peeked out for a little while. Special hello to Adam Spillane and Eve and Sarah Kavanagh, who are celebrating their birthday today at Kilmeaden at the station. And it's a great place for children to have birthday parties. Special hello also to Jerry and to Margaret O'Connell in Houghton's Bar. Hello, Jerry and Margaret. I know them fairly well. Now also a special mention to the Beat the Train, a 10-mile run on the Waterford Greenway. Running up against the train, that's on Saturday the 16th of November in aid of Down syndrome, Waterford South Kilkenny branch. And also I want to say thanks to Annette Atkins for the lovely home cooking here this morning and for all the hospitality. It really is fabulous. Now, speaking of running, we've got Tony Layton and we have Siobhan Walsh. How are you folks?
Hello. How are you?
You are organisers of the annual Ailíse Hayes Memorial Run. It's a 5-mile fun run. It takes place later this evening. Is that right, Tony?
Yeah, that's right. The walkers set off at 7:15, and then the runners go at 7:30. So. How
many normally would take part?
Generally around 100 runners and maybe 50 walkers. A lot depends on the weather tonight, but gradually we've been building up numbers over the years, so on a good day we'd hopefully get a lot more than 100 runners,
Siobhan, as the train pulls in behind us there, why is this an important memorial race? Why is it an important run?
Well, it's very important because it started off in 2012 and it was in memory of Ailíse Hayes, who was a well-respected member of our community, a young woman. She was teaching over in Ballyhale and she died very suddenly. So her family, in conjunction with others in the community, decided to have a run because she was very involved in running herself and she was a fine athlete. So we started that, and it was also done in conjunction with our local community centre in Ballyduff, because that was redeveloped around that time, so we needed to get finances in. So luckily enough, SC2 came on board and they have provided the cash prizes for the runners. And I'm involved in the catering side of it, so needless to say, I'm up since 6 o'clock this morning doing our home bakes and all that. We provide the best after race sandwiches and home baking.
In
and
Ireland?
So in Ireland, it's fantastic. So we're looking forward to a big crowd tonight. Don't let the weather deter you. They do say that it's it's a challenging course, but none the same. It's a lovely course. It goes around by Knockadary Lake, so it's beautiful. The scenery is gorgeous.
Tony, you're laughing there when you mentioned challenging.
Yeah, you could describe it as challenging, but as you've always said, you're just taking the lovely scenery as you're going around.
Yeah.
It's a lovely walk as well.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you can get out and about and support this. It's a very, very good cause, a very good
Well, it is, because you don't have to run it. We have walkers that will head off it. I think it's 6:30, is it?
6:45.
6:45, So it's a beautiful walk as well, and the lovely country roads. And the money then that is raised tonight will go half it. We'll get half it in the community centre, and the other half goes to Focus Ireland.
And continued success to everybody in the community centre, because you do marvellous work there.
Yeah, and we have a lovely community centre.
It is a fabulous community centre.
And there's lovely rooms for rent up there, and there's a creche up there as well. And there's lots of things that happen during the week up there.
Siobhan Walsh and Tony Layton, we'll let you go. Thank you very much, and good luck tonight. What time is it starting again?
7:15 for the walkers.
Put on your runners and come along.
You can register from about 6 p.m. onwards.
And Tony, you would concur that the after treats are the nicest in Ireland?
Oh yeah, that's
definitely
what they're coming for.
the famous. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks very much, folks. You're very good. Now I'm going to be joined here now by Mike Wall and Thomas Mcgrath. You are from the Dungarvan Cycling Club. There's a very, very special event taking place this weekend. Mike, tell us what's happening.
Well, in 1869, the very first cycling club in Ireland was founded. It was Dungarvan Ramblers Cycling Club, and it was founded by a gentleman called Richard Edward Brennan, who was based in Grattan Square in Dungarvan. So we're celebrating the fact that we're the oldest cycling club in the country with Dungarvan Ramblers. So Dungarvan Cycling Club tomorrow have a day-long series of events where we've gone out in spins in the morning. Later on in the afternoon, then we have a commemoration ceremony where Waterford County Council and Cycling Ireland are going to commemorate the historic event of 150 years ago. 150
years? It is amazing. That's nearly as old as this man here is playing football and hurling for Ryan, isn't that right?
That's right.
Tomas, do you with?
Could have to Damien.
Go to Garfod, yeah. You might get back on the old football field and the hurling field now. You're looking well.
The old bike will get a fella back in shape, all right.
You do look really well. You were talking to me about this before, how you've taken up the cycling and you've really embraced it. How important has it been for you, just on a personal level, for mental and physical health?
I couldn't speak highly enough of it. Like I got involved about 4 or 5 years ago to do what I thought was a huge spin, the 50k into Sean Kelly at the time, and that's what got us going. And now we've got the Greenway here, and loads of people are starting off cycling down the Greenway. There's a huge membership in Dungarvan. There's loads and loads of. There's 175 current members in the club.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, plenty of spread of young and old, or young and younger, probably more to be fair. Plenty of women. There's racers. So it's brilliant. And from a health point of view, it's probably it's definitely one of the best things I've done. Like when I give up football, and I think it happens to a lot of people, you kind of slacken off and you give up the training. But I'd say encourage anybody when they do hang up the boots to maybe buy an old bike and go for a little spin around the place.
You're looking at me there as if you're trying to tell me something. Yeah. After missing penalties up in the pitch, I tell you. We talked earlier to Phil Brennan from the Camino Tours. The Camino Tours has been born because the Greenway has developed. Dungarvan Cycling Club has been regenerated and rejuvenated because of the Greenway.
Yeah, it certainly is. There's a lot of people are cycling this year that didn't cycle last year in our club. And, we just see that trend continuing, that people are joining us every year. They join us to maybe from a couch to a 10k point of view, end up doing a 50k within a few months. And, we've had people that joined us only last May that did their first 100k only a few weeks ago.
Wow. How is cycling for you? Why is it so important for you? Is it just part of your life?
It's part of my life now, it is, yeah. Certainly for the last 10 years it's been part of my life. Getting out on the bike, you can forget about the day's work. People say, cycling is a drug. It certainly is, and it's great to get out, and you appreciate the county more by getting on your bike.
And tell us, I'd say there's some characters in the Out Club, is there?
Well, the fellow beside me is one of the characters. Yeah, there's great characters in the club. There's guys in our club that have been 40 years in the club, and I won't name anybody because you then start forgetting people. But there's a handful of people that keep this club going and have done for 40 years, and we certainly appreciate that because, like every week, we look forward so much to going in there and getting out on the bike with them.
I know nationwide, I think, is it Brian and Susie and Highlight Television? They're going to be going down to film it tomorrow. So, like a club to be 150 years old and keep going, that really is phenomenal. I actually didn't know that Dungarvan was the oldest club in the country.
Well, not just that. I mean, if you do your Dr. Google searches and you look for what's the oldest club in the world, you'll find a club in the UK that claims to be the oldest, that was founded in 1870. Well, we have evidence in Dungarvan that Dungarvan Ramblers was 1869. There's plenty of memorabilia and photographs and evidence of that in the Waterford County Museum. And that's opening tomorrow for 2 hours as well, just to let people go and see about Richard Edward Brennan. But yeah, there's something that's worth looking into, that Dungarvan could have a claim to be the oldest cycling club in the world.
Now, Tomas, there you go.
Before the Cumberland Class Sky even was founded, we were cycling around Dungarvan.
I think you were still playing at that stage, though. Listen, lads, the very, very best of luck tomorrow. I hope it goes really, really well. I really appreciate it. Good night, and tall, lads. Okay. Now, we are going to just to give a quick mention to everybody that here in the Waterford and Suir Valley Railway staff and volunteers. We've got Annette, we've got Marie, we've got Maria, James, Noel, Des, Dick, Eugene, Dimpna, Lillian, probably leaving out a few others. WLR Street Team, we've got David, James, Danielle, and thanks to Aisling Boland, Tyrone and Pat on sound and on making sure everything ran smoothly this morning. Well done, lads, and fair play to you to overcome the inclement weather we had earlier and for driving away the rain. I want to thank everybody here for the very, very warm welcome we've had as part of the WLR outside broadcast. Thank you, Jennifer, for producing. It really is lovely here this morning. There's the new coffee dock which has just opened, which is a fabulous addition to the place down here. So if you are on the Greenway, cycling or walking, this is the place to stop and sit outside and have your cup of coffee. All aboard, they're shouting, because we are going to be finishing off our programme now with our two musicians, Ailíse and Bodgan, who were singing for us earlier. What are you going to sing for us now?
We're going to do another original. This is called Holding Hands.
Holding Hands. Lovely. Okay, so everybody can hold hands here and wave and do all that sort of stuff. You're going to play us out. We are back on Monday. Maria is going to be in the seat. I'm taking a few days off. Thank you, everybody, for all the work that you've done today. Thanks very much to Waterford and Suir Valley Railway. And take it away, folks.
What's up on a busy street? People are rushing by, standing with their eyes closed. Just a girl with a guitar, music of the crashing wave plays within her soul. Soon enough she leaves this place. She just can't call it home. Holding hands, standing closer, moving forward towards the sea. Holding hands, touching shoulders, loving dearly, yeah, yeah. It's another chapter, oh, she will have to write, yeah. Starting with a blank page on her morning flight. It wasn't easy, no, breaking from the chain.
Déise Today with Damien Tiernan on WLR.
With thanks to Mulligan's. Did you know you can collect your Blue Club points online? See mulliganspharmacy.com.
You got that power over me.